Today we're doing something a little different, and I'm actually going to be taking a look back at what I consider to be one of my worst Batman Arkham videos that I did years ago. And, you know, this is a video that I wouldn't say I'm embarrassed of, but it has something like 800,000 views. Back then, Arkham was really blowing up, and especially if you were mainly covering it, it was blowing up. And this is a video where, like, a lot of my opinions on it have changed, and I feel cringe when I watch parts of this video. It is from 2020, so, like basically during COVID back then. But I hope you enjoyed today's video. We'll be talking during it and pausing and stuff like that. We got like the whole reaction channel setup going. I can even bring it down so that you can actually see the video itself. Like, we're running a real professional operation here. So I'll be interested to hear what you think of this video, but let's actually just hop right into it. Gotta get the headphones and everything. You know what people like more than positivity? You know what people like more than giving something the praise it deserves? Tearing it down, taking it down a peg.
So good.
You know, people love a hero, but they love to watch a hero fail, fall, die trying.
No.
Okay, all right. I've got to say, first off, based Raimi reference. That's already at least good, right? Like, we've already started on a good foot. I've got Raimi references. I feel like the video can't be as bad as I'm remembering. Although, look at this. Look at Batman here. Look at how blurry this is, this video. Just in general. It's like I didn't know how to encode video back then. And that is one of the ugliest 1080p videos I've probably ever seen in my life. So that's not a good start. We got a point for Raimi and a point taken away for the quality of this.
Good, yes.
And that's why we're going to look today at the worst character designs in the Batman Arkham series. Can I just say, real quick, I don't think any of these are horrible.
No.
It's just they're the least good. I think that would be the way to put it. And there's a few we genuinely... Okay, alright. I get comments on this video to this day about how I tore down these designs and all of this stuff. To this day, I get comments about this. And I don't know if you just heard that prepubescent man right there who was in his 20s but sounds like he's 12. I was saying that these are not bad designs, okay? I was saying they're not bad designs, it's just I don't like them. But even then, there's some of these here that I'm like, I don't understand how I didn't like them, which is why I wanted to take a look at it today. We might end up cutting around a little bit. I don't want this to be boring. But we've got the Cat Vision chair back there, or if iDubbbz decides to sit in the chair in the corner, that's right there. And we will kind of continue on.
Don't like. Sure. I think overall, we had a hard time putting this list together. Out of like a lot of the lists that we've done, this was one of the harder ones to find things that we just did not like. Or really, like you said, we're like, well, this is like the worst of the best.
Okay, actually, really quick aside here. Speaking of this, I don't know if you can tell, but you know what T said about like having a hard time putting this list together? This video was one of the ones for me where I was like, if I keep doing Batman Arkham content, I'm going to end up talking about nothing. Like, only Batman Arkham content. There was like a 6 month to a year period there where like that was the main thing we were doing. And I was realizing we are having a hard time putting lists together. You know what I mean? Like, we're having a hard time actually coming up with topics. Not because like there's nothing to talk about, but because we did like 6 months to a year worth of Arkham videos. And you can't really talk to people who worked on Arkham. Like, Paul Dini is not available, like, for interviews, things like that. Maybe he will be again someday, I don't know, but he's just not. Sefton Hill, Jamie Walker, they're not exactly, like, super interview-prone people, especially now after, you know, nowadays with, like, Suicide Squad and stuff like that. They've kind of tried to keep a low profile. But, like, it was kind of a situation where you couldn't get your hands on the developers of these games to actually ask them questions in most cases. And so really what you could do is you could do the Batman Arkham videos angle of it, which there's nothing wrong with at all, where you're like, you know, analyzing, talking about Easter eggs, stuff like that, which we did some of that. Or you could do speculations, like fan theories, which we did some of that. Or you could do top fives, top tens, things like that, which we did. There are people to this day who cover Arkham every upload. More power to them. I still love it. But like this video right here was one of the reasons why we kind of like realized maybe we're pushing it. You know what I mean?
This is like the worst of the best, I guess. So
the first one was easy though for me.
No brainer.
And that was Gordon from Arkham Asylum and Arkham City.
He looks bad.
It's not great.
He's supposed to look like he does in the animated series, I think.
Kind of.
But he comes off looking really lifeless, and he doesn't look like he would be capable of doing the job. In fact, he barely looks like he's capable of standing.
Okay, I don't know about that.
It's just the graphics either. He just looks... I mean, he's supposed to be, what, 50?
Yeah.
He looks like he's 90.
He looks like...
Okay,
so
all right. He doesn't look like he's 90. That is the biggest exaggeration I've probably done in one of my videos. But he does look very old. I will stand by that he does look very old. Compared to Night and Origins, which is weird. They kept changing the art design on what they wanted this to be. And a big reason for that was it was so focused on Batman the Animated Series in terms of like a inspiration for it early on. And then more Rocksteady wanted to do their own thing. And then, of course, you know, WB Games Montreal, they made Gordon look their own way for Origins. So I don't hate this design, though. Like, I'm replaying Arkham Asylum right now on the Let's Play channel. So if you haven't checked that out, the link's in the description. And I haven't hated the design, but I do think his design is inconsistent throughout this series.
He doesn't really look like he fits into the world. You know what I mean? Like, he's so cartoony. And everyone else is obviously a little cartoony, but like,
well, especially in Asylum.
Yes, but that was like, he was extra cartoony. It just didn't really fit in the world. And I mean, his voice actor was great. That's not the thing. It's the character design itself.
The person behind it's really good.
It was great. Yeah.
And the writing was too.
For sure. But he looked weird. Like, just like the shape of his face was like, it almost seemed too small. His face
and
did.
Circular.
Yeah,
he does have
circular.
big hands, like very big hands.
No, I agree, and that's the weird thing about talking about these two is we try to back them up, but when it comes to character design, a lot of this is going to be subjective art.
Yes.
So all we
What's
can do
this
is try to
music?
explain why we feel the way we feel about it.
For sure.
It's not as much like game design where you can really get into like the ins and outs of objectivity with
or
it, too.
plot, where you can look at the logic of a plot.
Yeah.
No, it's not like that.
Nope. This is like it looked bad.
Yep.
The next one we have is Titan Joker.
Okay.
Maybe there's...
This is fair. You got to admit this is fair. Look at this guy. Look at him. Well, it's that way. Which way? That way, right there. Look at this man. I understand that this was supposed to be Rocksteady doing their own thing and everything, but like, it's a unique design. Some people think it's badass. I still think this doesn't really fit with the character. Like, just going full brute. I don't know. I don't know if I feel like that fits with who Joker is in general. But then, like, do you separate the character design from that? It's like, I feel like this character design doesn't really fit Joker. Maybe it fits like a monster that Joker made or someone he turned into a monster. Doing it to himself is... I go really back and forth on this plot point.
A little bit of influence by just the fact of how stupid it is. But it also just looks pretty bad. It's the best looking Titan, maybe? Not really, though. Because, I mean, the only thing that makes it look good is that it is Joker. So you have, like, that idea. Oh, this is Joker. So, like, automatically you think, Joker, cool.
And are you saying the best looking Titan in Asylum? Or
Yes.
Okay,
maybe.
For sure.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I don't think it's fair to count the normal Titans, but they do look really dumb. But they at least are supposed to look dumb. Like, Joker's supposed to be menacing and really cool.
Okay, that's the thing, is the normal Titans are supposed to be basically these brainless idiots that Joker made, right? And like the horror of it is that he turned people into this thing, some of whom who were loyal to him, some of whom I believe were Arkham staff, like guards and stuff, if you actually look at their outfits, especially later on in the game. That makes sense. That's like body horror. That fits Joker. It's just like, would he do it to himself? Like, Joker's more of a conniving, planning chaos guy. He's not really like okay, time to like turn into Bane here and beat somebody up guy. His design, though, you'll see, it's so bulky. This one I'm kind of defending my opinion on. I've never really been a big fan of Titan Joker.
And instead, it's just the Joker head. It's the same head stretched out a little bit.
With a mohawk?
With a mohawk.
Where'd
Where'd that come from?
Yeah.
And a huge body.
Yes. Yeah. And
it is iconic, though. Like, look at this. This scene, in general, is iconic to the Batman Arkham series. I will give them that 100%. Like, when you think of Arkham Asylum, this is one thing, for better or worse, that comes to mind. I think it's one of the weakest things in the game, but it's still, like, uniquely Arkham Asylum.
he had giant fingers, too, which, did they have, like, I mean, his were, like, extra long fingers.
Now, hold on. Wait a minute. Pause. I mean, T's focusing on those fingers a little bit. Just wondering where he wants them, you know? I don't know.
If you remember, and the normal Titan guys just had big hands. I feel like.
Their fingers were not that long.
It was extra long fingers, which were weird, and I don't know, like it didn't look right. And obviously, we know Joker is like the skinny, kind of funny, maniacal guy. This character design was just odd to look at, and it didn't help that it just wasn't his character. It's never really something that you see Joker
everything was off about it.
Yeah,
from the design to just the plot.
It just didn't fit.
He kind of looks like a buff hag raven from Skyrim. I don't know.
No one's going to get that reference on this channel.
No.
The next one we have is actually Scarecrow.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, he made the first list. From Arkham Asylum. I read a lot of comments that people were okay with this look. I get that. Make your own... No, I'm just kidding. I get that other people like this. I'm not going to dispute that. But we think it looks a little silly. And let's just explain why.
Well, and I'd like to say first, too, before you dive too deep.
Well, wait a minute, T. Now, I'd like to say before I dive too deep, I disagree with this opinion nowadays. I actually like this design. I fuck with this design. I think it's cool. Especially the fingers with the syringes and stuff. The one thing I wish was that he had some kind of torso piece better. You know, like to cover his stomach. Not because it's like, I don't know, offensive to show skin or something. Like, I like how Harley looks. She's showing skin. But more like because I feel like this was designed... It's a little bit reminiscent of Batman, The New Adventures, mixed with the original Batman, the animated series, mixed with their own thing. I respect it for that. I think it's cool. I don't know why I was so critical on it. The one thing you're going to see that I remember mentioning a lot is the noose. I remember mentioning the noose and saying, that's stupid. At the time, I hadn't watched Batman The New Adventures. So nowadays, I really like that design. I feel like it could have been darker, but something I didn't mention here, my screen just made a popping noise. That's not good. We're poor around here. We don't buy new equipment. Something I didn't mention here, though, in general, was that with this suit, you can tell that it's cobbled together. So let me see if I can show you with my mouse. Some people don't notice this. I don't think I did at the time. It seems like to be cobbled together out of Asylum materials, right? Like it's stitched together, like it was put together in secret. We find those interview tapes about like Crane, you know, like cornering a doctor and stuff like that, and actually doing his psychiatric work and his experiments still, even in Arkham Asylum. So I like that. I feel like I didn't notice it at the time. At least I don't think I did. One of my favorite things about this is how the mouth moves and how it's like got straw and it looks fake. I like this mask a lot, and I don't remember giving it credit in this video. So let's see what T and I actually said here really quick. Let's jump back 10 seconds.
I get that other people like this. I'm not going to dispute that, but we think it looks a little silly, and let's just explain why.
Well, and I'd like to say first, too, before you dive too deep.
Yeah.
This was one of those where it was the worst of the best. This isn't like
it's not bad. A terrible one.
No. It's just worst of the best, kind of.
And there's things bringing it down. Like, the fact that he is just shirtless for no reason is kind of weird. It didn't really seem like it fit the character of who Crane was that much.
I feel like he get cold.
It just seemed like out of left field. The noose is sort of odd and doesn't have anything to do with anything.
No.
He really just has on a gas mask.
Okay, don't bring up the noose. I get comments about that to this day. Sometimes when I check the community tab, it's people from this video from 5 years ago talking about how I was hating on the noose. I like the noose now, okay?
Just a little warped.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird looking gas mask too. Yeah.
And the mask is the best part of the character design, probably.
I would agree.
I agree too.
The noose, and I didn't mind the noose, but like...
Okay, T, saving it.
Like, it's weird to explain this. It just looked kind of like Gordon for me, where it was almost a little too cartoonish.
Yeah, like it was pulled out of a Bruce Timm sketch.
Yes.
And it would fit in like an animated universe.
For sure.
Because to me, this does look a lot like a version, like a weird warped version of the new Batman Adventures.
Okay, I do recognize that.
Because he had a noose too, didn't he?
I believe so.
I think he did.
He sort of had this same sort of look.
Yeah.
I think he looked better in that, to be honest. I mean, like, I like this mask more, but I thought he looked like really menacing in New Adventures. But I like this outfit way more. I don't know why I was picking this as a bad design nowadays.
And the defense I will give for this is we're not saying that these outfits don't make sense.
I'm trying so hard to cover my ass.
This would make sense as a hastily thrown together outfit if you were in Arkham Asylum.
Okay, I do mention that.
Threw together a villain outfit. Makes sense from the logic of the world doesn't make it look good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it looks pretty good.
Agreed.
In fact, he just kind of looks a little bit like Zaz with a mask.
Look at how compressed this video is. This was the quality I uploaded this in, and nobody cared back then. 5 years ago, this was 1080p. And look at how bad it looks. Like, even look compared to me in the corner. Like, I'm just distracted by all the pixels. I feel like I could pause this and count the pixels on this screen.
Yes.
If you think about it.
He really does. That's a great comparison. And that's obviously not to say he's got some great moments in the game. It's just looking at his character design itself.
He's one of the best characters in this game.
Especially, I think the problem is, too, when you compare it to how he looks in Night, it's like, my gosh, what a difference.
Well, that's the thing, too. We're looking at the whole series.
Yes.
I mean, if it was just the...
But Night, I think, tried too hard to be real. You know, I don't know what you guys think. I'd be interested in your comments on that. I found that Night tried too hard to be like real life. Like everything had to be militaristic. Everything had to look like it could exist in the real world. You know, going back to Asylum now in my Let's Play that I'm doing, something I'm noticing is that I love how cartoony elements of the game are. You know, some of those elements feel like they're ripped out of Batman Vengeance or The New Adventures or something like that, and then given life in a realistic setting. And I think Crane kind of fits in that. So I like him a lot more for that. I feel like I didn't understand character design as much back then, and I feel like I didn't understand world design as much, as I do now. Not to say I'm like an expert, but I just feel like I didn't understand it as well as I do now.
I've worst in Arkham Asylum.
Right.
The list would probably be different. Gordon would still be on there.
Oh, no, Brandon.
The list
would hate on Gordon.
And I am glad, as a final note on this, that they did save what I think is the absolute best part of this suit, which the mask is one of them, but it totally changes. But the fingers, like the needle stuff, it's different in Night, but it's still the same general idea.
Yes.
And I'm glad they kept that, because that's the most menacing part, is that he can jab someone
when you, like,
with the fear toxin.
You hear the clanking too, you know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of menacing and intimidating when he's doing it. It was really, really cool in Night, and so it's hard because you're comparing it a little bit, but I think that this belongs on the list.
And in story, he was fantastic in his
It's no complaint.
It's like my favorite part of the game.
Just the design.
One of them.
The next one we have, this is the one I think you're most adamantly against the look of.
Yep.
So I'd like to let you explain it first before I say anything about it.
We get a lot of comments about this to this day. This look. Do you guys like this look? Like, do you? I'll make myself a little smaller, sorry. I don't want to be too big in this, like when we're watching this part. But do you guys like this look for Croc? Like, do you like the idea that he devolved over time and got this messed up? I'm not sure. It's interesting. I really do like the New Adventures one. You know, I like that. I actually didn't love his look in Batman the Animated Series, the original, like, seasons, where he's just kind of a pale big guy. I didn't really care for that one that much, but I loved his design in Arkham Asylum. So for me, like, I think that we criticized the story part of this here a little bit, but, like, the story does make sense. There's experiments going on, things like that with him. It does actually make sense. I think we'll get into that not making sense, and it does. I think we just didn't understand that when we first played this, but let's see.
Sure. It's Killer Croc from Arkham Knight, and specifically from the Season of Infamy DLC. So this character, and you had mentioned that a lot of people like this design.
I've seen some people say, like, they really...
Now I've seen a lot.
I personally don't like it.
Seen them in my comments.
Reason being, and maybe it's a little bit of a comparison too, in the other ones you see him just jacked. He's this kind of like Bane-like presence where he's just a monster. He's going to brute force you, and he's still kind of like that in Night, but he's got this beer gut, and he's kind of hunched over. He just looks like he's like falling off, I guess. You know what I mean?
You're saying you don't like fat people. No. Can we explain that too, by the way? Because you and I talked about that, and the fact is that, like, the idea is cool.
Yes.
He's supposed to be becoming more animalistic over time, but if that's the case, what kind of crocodile at all looks like this? I mean, crocodiles get big, but they are jacked, and that was part of the point of Killer Croc the whole time.
Well,
so to take that away from him, it's not...
He doesn't look that fat.
Like, the face looks good.
The face looks great.
That stuff. It's just like... he doesn't really see...
He doesn't look that fat, though. I feel like we misinterpreted this character. He looks more like he just has bulging skin. You know what I mean? Like, here, let's go back for a second here. You can see it better right here.
The Croc the whole time.
Look at like how he moves like a crocodile. That's awesome.
So to take that away
but okay, look
from him, it's not that
in how bad, well, with how bad this video looks. Look here, he's jacked here, he's totally fine. It's just that like here he has a bunch of loose skin. It seems like maybe it's just from like gorging himself on people or something, or from those experiments. I'm trying to remember this part of the game because I actually haven't played through this Season of Infamy DLC thing or whatever in a while. I guess my biggest criticism of him now would be that he looks like the Lizard, you know, from like Spider-Man. Like that would be a criticism I have of him now. Is like maybe he looks too much like Lizard. But I don't know. I don't think this would land on the list for me anymore. I guess I don't know what the list would be. There's very few Arkham designs I don't like.
That stuff, it's just like he doesn't really seem animalistic as much as he sort of seems like a out of his prime Croc.
That's what it feels like. It feels like
you fell off, bro.
Non-athletic, you know, beyond 50 Croc, where he's just kind of like, he's still Croc, but he's not anywhere near what he was.
It feels like it would fit into something like The Dark Knight Returns.
Sure. Yeah.
And work there in the scope of
that would be very cool, actually.
But in the scope of this story, it didn't fit.
It was just...
No, it did.
In design terms and in story terms for me.
All right. No, I'm pretty sure it fit with the story. The story they told made sense. I guess I was too stupid to understand it. But I don't know. I don't love the design. I prefer the Asylum one, but I guess some of the criticisms here, I'm kind of like... I can see why this video got some pushback. This video still did pretty well. Like, I think it has something like an 85 to 90% like ratio, something like that. So it's like most people either agreed or they blindly left a like on this. I don't know which, but like some of these, like Gordon, I think Gordon looks best in Origins. You know, I think a mixture of Scarecrow's look from Asylum and Night would have been perfect, but I still like both of them a lot. This one, I think the criticism of just not liking it is fair. Like, that's a fair criticism. You can just not like anything. You know, it's like, I just don't like this pair of scissors. Why? Because I don't. You can have that opinion. But, like, to just say that this is stupid and doesn't fit the story, I feel like since T and I have played this, you know, over and over again since then, I feel like that's just kind of not a true statement. And I don't really know if we were not refreshed on the game at that point or why we said that.
It just felt weird too, but
it did.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think it looks good compared to his other ones. And
I still kind of think
an
that
underrated look for him too was he actually looked pretty decent in Origins.
I liked how he looked in Origins a lot.
Cool, because he progresses from Origins to Asylum.
Another thing is we don't show this.
City, he looks almost the...
I don't know why we don't show this here. Like, I mean, I can kind of... So nowadays, if I made this video, I definitely would have shown this off. I don't know why I didn't, but like this is more what he looks like in Origins. Oh, sorry, I'm pointing at Asylum because I have my old glasses on, so they're anti-glare, so you guys don't get blinded. More like this. I do prefer this. I prefer like that jacked look, or like I especially love the Asylum look for him. I think that's incredible. But like, look at this. So, for example, even looking at the art style of Asylum. Something I wanted to talk about in a future video is it's very clear they were going in more of like an artistic style, you know, like more of a comic booky style meets the real world. Whereas over time, it feels like the Arkham games became more just like the real world. I do feel like Croc fit better when it was this style, but I don't hate the one in Night.
Same as Asylum.
Pretty much the same.
A little different.
Yeah.
And then in this, it's just a massive change.
Yeah.
And it didn't fit for us at all.
It didn't work, I don't think, for us. No.
The final one, is this the one I'm most against?
Yes, it is.
Oh, I really find it to be so stupid the way he looks. That's Bane from Arkham Asylum. I actually don't like this design.
Maybe when he's skinny.
Well,
yes, he looks the same in City.
Yeah.
In some ways, he actually looks worse in City, but this design originated in Asylum.
Yep.
So I think it's fair to critique that one more.
For sure.
Because it's not just a comparison, because, like, this is the worst looking Bane I can think of.
Okay, well, hold on.
I'm sure there's something worse. I'm not...
maybe Dark Knight Rises? Like, I mean, he's cool, but, like, the only thing he has in common with Bane is wearing a mask. Like, maybe that would be a more design I could complain about. I feel like this one's fine. It's a little generic though, you know. The Origins one kicks ass. Like that one just knocks everything out of the park to me.
Saying there's not.
Sure.
But I'm saying right now, talking to you right here, this is the worst one I can think of, because I think of other ones. I think of The Dark Knight Rises, very different but looks menacing.
I like how I
I
defended
think
that
of
one.
Origins, much more sort of to the actual Nightfall
Yeah.
origins of Bane himself.
That
really
one
fit that.
Jill.
And it's not just
Jill
about the
burped in
character
the background.
fitting, it's about how it looks. Like, he just looks like a nothing. He looks like a big beefcake. That's it. I mean, it looks like The Rock, if The Rock got, like, a huge steroid injection to be 3 times as big as he is. And he had no personality, obviously, which didn't help, but that shined through in his look, too. The only thing that looked good about him was the mask, and it didn't look great. It looked okay.
I actually think this design's pretty cool. Now, I think the problem with this character is just that he was best in Origins. You know, like his writing in Origins was fantastic. He was smart, he was tactical, you know, the Venom and all that stuff, it made sense. Like Origins, just in general, the older I get, the more I kind of like think it might be my favorite Arkham story, actually. I go back and forth on it, but it might be my favorite because of how it handles the villains. Like they're all menacing, you know, they all have minds. I think Rocksteady, they were really trying to make Bane a brainless brute. And I don't agree with that characterization, but there's nothing really wrong with how he looks. Plus, like, the problem is that this is not him suited up, really. This is him just straight up in asylum pants. So it's kind of, like, hard to judge, you know, this Bane.
He just looks like a brainless dolt
That's
the
true.
entire time.
He really does. Well, and
Well, he is
even if,
one.
like, the interesting thing is from Asylum, they pulled a lot from the animated series. He looks good in the animated series.
Yeah.
Bane looks cool.
I do think he looks
He's got,
better
like,
in
it's
that.
all black. He's like still smart. He's talking. He's tactical. He's still Bane in the animated series. I don't know what happened from all of the pull from the animated series into the Arkham Asylum game and why he
Also, I play like garbage in this video. Like, I play really bad.
was so drastically different than every other character.
Well, especially with Paul Dini on the writing team, like why would that happen?
don't
I
am
get it.
confused
And it's-
about that. I would be interested to hear about that. Like, it seems like Dini was more of a fan of tactical Bane. You know, Bane in the stories that BTAS did was smarter, at least earlier on. It's odd to me to see him end up like this, but again, like, design-wise, I think with this video, one reason why it came off wrong, and you guys can tell me what you think about this. I think that with this video, one reason it came off poorly to a lot of people is because we were trying to do character design analysis, but you have to include story elements in that to rationalize why people look the way they look. Like, you can't just say, oh yeah, this guy is wearing a black mask in Arkham Origins. Well, why? I don't know, because he just wears one. Like, you can analyze the aesthetic of it, but you need some of the story. But like, a lot of the criticisms we had in this were the story itself. You know what I mean? Not necessarily the design. So it's like, I can see why some people didn't like this video. Again, I feel like I don't have to justify it. I feel like it did do pretty good, especially for the time and the fact people still see it. But like, if I was to remake this video, first off, it wouldn't look like it was shot on a potato. Like, we could literally count these pixels. Secondly, if I was going to put Bane on here, which I might, because this, you know, this Bane in this video, like in this game in Arkham Asylum, this Bane is a little disappointing to me. I feel like I would have better justifications for it, but it's hard. Like, how do you talk about character design? I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on that too. Because, like, you have to include story elements, but if your whole criticism is the story element, then it's not the design specifically, but they tie together, you know? So this was, like, a really hard one to talk about, I think.
Again, it's multiple things. Like, it's the story, sure, but just how he looks, he doesn't look like Bane. He doesn't look like anything. He's so forgettable.
I still think
It
he
would be
looks
really
like
cool
Bane.
to see him, because when you see him, he's like, you know, getting pumped dry when you originally see him, and then you set him free and he becomes Bane. It would have been cool to see him like you did in Origins, where before he got fully jacked,
The
he was
editing
just,
is
like,
bad
smart,
here.
menacing, kind of just, I guess, boss, like mafia boss almost, that is just tactically running things. And it would have been cool to see that side of him in City and Asylum, because we didn't see that. We just saw it in Origins, and that's where he's at his best, is in Origins in this series.
Oh, I wanted to also mention, T's right. Yeah, he's at his best in Origins. I kind of feel like part of this, too, is we were analyzing Return to Arkham, and it changed some of the color palettes. It did change certain details. Does it, like, totally affect the discussion of design? I guess not really, but it did actually affect, like, certain little details on some of these characters when they remastered it.
It would have been cool to see that in City and Asylum like you did in the animated series, I guess.
Oh, and ironically, no one liked, speaking of the characterization, no one really liked it that much, so they ended up not even putting him in Night.
Makes sense.
And I think it's partially for that reason. But
I think they more just didn't know what to do with them.
So, hey, these are our 5 worst character designs in the Batman Arkham series. We look forward to hearing what you think in the comments down below.
Oh, we did hear.
What are your opinions of the worst? What are the best? Hey, thank you to everybody who entered the giveaway last time.
I used to do giveaways.
I shouted out the winner of that on the community tab, and we took care of that. Appreciate it a lot. We'll be doing more of those in the future.
We will.
We hope you have a fantastic day. See you in the next one.
Giveaways were a mistake, by the way, on this channel. Because, like...
I can't find it. Help.
End it.
Yeah, I didn't know how to end the video. Giveaways were a mistake back then, too, because what YouTubers would do is they'd do giveaways to try to get subscribers, and then people wouldn't actually watch the content because people are lazy and they just want free stuff, you know? Like, that's just the human experience, is being lazy and wanting things for free. Yeah, I don't know, man. Rewatching this, I didn't think this would be this long of a video, but rewatching this, I feel like my reasoning has improved a lot over the years. You know, I don't know. I mean, like, I'm sure I still have bad takes. I'm sure I still have bad reasoning on certain things. But I feel like I can actually reason stuff out. It's so weird to me to look back at this and see this video did so good. Like, this channel got more attention when these videos were bad, which is bizarre to me. I feel like I have more of a presence. Like, I can actually speak on things now. I can speak my mind on them. I'm not afraid to speak my mind on them. And I can justify and reason out what I think, even if it's stupid. Like, I can still have a reasoning. I feel like some of my reasoning in this video was, like, very poor. Some of it is just based on story critiques of, like, how I would have written something, especially for Croc, you know. And I mean, when you're looking at a killer cock like that, you got to be careful how you're analyzing it. But, you know, him being big, throbbing, and veiny like that, it's like I could have had a lot of things to say about that I feel like I didn't. Overall, I'm not impressed by some of my old videos. I don't know if you guys would want me to react to any more, or if this was boring as hell. I have no idea. I know people watch, like, react streamers all day. They blow me out of the park for views. But, like, you'll have to let me know what you think. Because for me, you know, there's some things I agree with and some I don't. I can really see, though, why this got so much pushback in the comments. Like, the people who didn't like the video were very, very vocal about it. And while Arkham doesn't have perfect designs, I think I could have had much better angles to tackle these from, but I was also younger. You know, 5 years ago, the audio's garbage. You can count the pixels on the screen, like I said a few times, because it's so compressed and terrible looking. I think I just didn't really know what I was doing back then. And it's ironic, because, like, watching a video like this is kind of like a thing where if I could time travel and do it better, I would, you know? Because I think, like, if I could have done my content better back then, would this channel actually be doing better now? You know what I mean? Because it's like, I kind of think some of my younger takes pushed people away from this channel because they were not well reasoned. And kind of just, I don't know, me complaining. Which I still complain nowadays, but I feel like at least I have reasons for it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'm interested to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, you want to leave a like, subscribe. If you'd want to see more videos like this, let me know in the future. I don't really know if I'd react to other people's content. I know other people do that all the time. I feel like YouTube and a lot of these things, they're weird with that, you know, with, like, copyright and stuff. And I'm always kind of, like, hesitant on it. I don't want to steal anyone's content, which a lot of reactions are just really boring, lazy, nothing burgers. I don't want to do that. But I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on this video and if you want more of them or anything like that, or what you want to see on this channel, because I'm actually listening. I appreciate you. I hope you will leave a like, subscribe. Let me know what you think. If you want to support this channel, you can use Fortnite code DJAY123, or you can support our store, CosmoBunny.shop. Coasters, keychains, trays, and more, made from recycled paper from comic books. So sometimes we get a comic book, sometimes we get a box. Sometimes we get a manga issue, anything like that, and they are damaged. We save some of that paper, turn it into something new for your home, and we recycle the rest. And also, my wife Jill has been doing new resin earrings, which I think are fantastic. Really cool pieces. I hope you'll check that out too. Remember, code DJAY123. Everything is handmade. You can get 10% off your first order over there. Have a fantastic day. And as always, everyone, stay shui.